Hey guys, welcome to this next YouTube video. Today we're going to cover ball position and feet position. Let's get into the video. So feet position and ball position are very important because they're just the main sort of foundations for your setup. Obviously your posture is equally as important as well, but I feel like if you have a bad ball position or a bad stance, and this can really affect the start line of your putt, especially ball position, and that's what we're going to cover now. What I'd like to see and where you should be aiming for is the leading edge of your putter should be in the middle of the stance. So a good way to check here is you can see how I've got my alignment stick running right down at the middle of my feet, and I've lined that up with the leading edge of my putter. This then allows the ball to sit just in front of center. So the ball is going to be inside left center, almost like where you play a 7-iron. This allows for optimum launch conditions, and it allows for the face to be square by the time you reach the impact position. If, for example, we have our ball position too far back and that leading edge too far back and ball position back of middle, what that can cause is more of a push because the face is still open at this point in the arc, and it can cause us to hit more down on the ball. Vice versa, if we have the ball too far forward, this is then closing down by the time it gets to the ball. So the arc closing down by the time the putter gets to the ball. So that is linked with a left miss or a pull. Also, when the ball is a little bit too far in front, that can cause the launch to be too high. So when the launch is too high or low, then that means the ball isn't going to get rolling as early as it should be or as late as it should be. In order for optimal launch conditions, we need to have the ball right in the middle of the stance. This is then going to allow our effective loft, which is our loft to impact, to be around about 2 to 3 degrees. This gives the ball a little hop in the first sort of initial takeoff, and then it gets the ball rolling as quick as possible. If we're someone who launches it quite high, then that ball's going to bounce and not get rolling as early as possible. And if we're someone that hits down the ball, then we're going to be hitting the ball into the ground, and that can then cause the ball to sort of bobble and bounce and not get the ball rolling as smoothly. So launch conditions and ball position are very well linked and are really important to get the ball rolling on that plane surface as quick as possible. And that's going to give you a nice true roll when you get on the putting green. So in order to make sure you've got the right ball position, again, alignment stick out, make sure it's in the middle of your stance, and then ensure that the leading edge matches up with the alignment stick. I don't want you to get the ball matching up with the alignment stick because then the leading edge is going to be too far back. I want you to get the ball just ahead and the leading edge in line with the alignment stick. That's then going to allow for optimum launch conditions into the putt, getting the ball rolling as quickly as it should. And that's going to really allow for a nice true roll. Now, in terms of feet position, I always hear people say, should their feet be inverted or pointing more outwards, or should they be wide or narrow? The correct sort of stance for me and what you'll see with most tour professionals is firstly, feet are going to be around about shoulder width apart. This is sort of prime stance for just a nice amount of stability. Sometimes I feel like if your feet are too wide, you really limit yourself a little bit. And if the feet are too narrow, then it can be easier for you to sway around. So having them feet shoulder width apart just allows us to have a nice solid base and to be as stable as we need to be. From there, I like to see both feet pointing straight ahead. Don't want to see our feet pointing outwards or inwards. If anything, outwards is better, as I feel inwards can sort of limit you sometimes when it comes to making a stroke, especially for longer putts. But in order to make our alignment easier, I really think it's important to get our feet pointing straight, as then that's going to allow for that straight line to be formed. If I match myself up, you can see it's far easier for me to align myself having my feet pointing directly straight in front of me instead of having them outwards or inwards. It just makes alignment a little bit more awkward when we have them outwards or inwards. So just to summarize, we want our feet shoulder width apart and pointing straight in front of us, both feet pointing in the same direction, and then our leading edge of our putter in the middle of our stance. And that's really going to allow for a nice optimal launch. So if you're unsure whether you hit these points, then the best way to sort of measure is to make sure you get a couple of alignment sticks. You can have one pointing down the middle of your stance and then one pointing this way with the ball where it needs to be. So you can use both these sticks to make sure your feet are parallel with this stick here and then in the middle of your stance here. And that's going to make sure that your stance position and your ball position is correct. So I hope you enjoyed that video. That was a question from someone in the comment section who was asking about feet and ball position. So again, if you have any suggestions of videos or anything that you want to know for your own putting, let me know and I'll get a video done for you. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe.